Well, hello and welcome to the newest edition of How to Groom a Schnauzer. Today's volunteer is Nix. She is 10 years old and is retired from breeding, but she is rocking her agility still. We are working on her head today. So, not a show dog anymore, but she is a conformation champion. So we want to make her look really good, but have a few concessions to make for functionality. And so here we go. What we are going to need is we've got our small comb. This one is, I don't even know what size this is, but this is my small comb, and this, I also need my eyebrow comb. It's very small, as you can see, and it has two different sizes of tines. It's got some wider ones and some thinner ones. These are specific for the eyebrows. And then you need, it's scissor time now. So I like these scissors. These are, they are 3-inch straight shears. These are my all-around kind of rough and tough, they do everything scissors. I also use for eyebrows thinning shears, and I have a couple of varieties. So I have a really short one right here, and I have a longer set of thinning shears. In reality, you can get away with just your good old regular shears. The thinning ones do provide a little bit of grace when you're doing this. So having a nice pair of thinning shears is super helpful, and if you're only buying one, I would recommend this size. So goodness, what is that, 2 inches, I guess. And they are just a standard set of thinning shears. Thinning shears, you'll find, tend to be very delicate. You have to be very careful if you get a high quality version to not inadvertently tap them on a table or anything, because if any of these tines get slightly out of whack, then they'll hit along your straight edge, and then things will, they'll snag, and so your scissors won't work well. So that's also why I've got my handy dandy little scissor holder, because my thinning shears very rarely get rested on my table. I put them back in here so that I don't drop them or let them hit anything or whatever. So for Nix to get ready for her head to be done, obviously we have all the shaving done, which we learned in our last video, and she's been bathed, and we did some blow drying. Now, for me personally, with pet grooms, I bathe after I shave, because I'm not worried about the dirty hair making my blades dull, because I don't do that many grooms that it would cause that. And then I can give them a nice bath and don't have to worry about needing to use my witch hazel on them too badly. And for me, for the most part, I don't fuss with blow drying, except the face, because if your Schnauzer is anything like mine, and since you probably bought Schnauzers from me, they would be exactly like mine, their eyebrows tend to go curly. And so you take a little bit of gel, and in this case, I just used some of my personal gel and just did a little gel. And then when I blow dried, you hold the blow dryer going this way. So if we pretend my brush is the barrel of the blow dryer, so it blowing this direction, and then I am actually using my fingers to hold the eyebrow up a little bit and let it and dry it that way. It's much easier to hold the eyebrow with your fingers than to try and like brush it, and then the dog's head's moving all over the place. Never met a Schnauzer yet that didn't move their head. Now the other part is you also want to blow dry their beard, in which case I tend to, sorry gentlemen, I get my boobs involved in the action, and I let them hold their little head up here, and while they're resting their little chin sadly on my boob, then I hold the blow dryer like this, and then I just dry like that, and then it keeps them from getting into any mischief. And yes, I am drying it coming forward like that, and then we just switch sides. But for time and all that wonderfulness, Nyx already has been dried and brushed, and she is ready for her head. So the first thing I like to do is we need to give ourselves, oh, sorry, couldn't see that. We need to give her 2 eyebrows instead of a unibrow. So if in doubt, always use your thinning shears on something. And let me move to the other side since I'm right-handed. So for me, I like to start by moving my now fabulously straight eyebrows to the side. And because when I did my shaving, I came up to the edge here. Now I'm going to take my thinning shears and, well, first I'm going to kind of pull this little hair up like that so it's standing up. Bring my thinning shears down to the skin and then up just a tiny bit and just do some little scissors. Notice I'm just scissoring right here. I'm not like moving it around. And then I can take off that little chunk of hair. And then I look and see and go, okay, I want to take off a little bit right here. And I'm doing this very carefully. Oh, sorry, I think my head was in the way for you. Snip, snip, snip. And then I move the hair out. And I just keep doing it, pulling the little hairs out to the middle. And snip, 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 snip. If you're feeling really confident, then you can do this with your regular shears. I would suggest using the thinners because they are much more forgiving. So now if I think I've got this one set properly, now I'm going to look at her. I'm going to put my shears away. And what I'm going to do is put my fingers on her closed eyeball and find the ridge of bone and then lay my fingers on it and go, okay, are my eyebrows even? And when I look at that, I go, oh, nope, I have a little too much there. That is where this awesome little eyebrow comb comes into play, because the tines on this guy, let's see if you can see those better, the diameter is much smaller. And so after I've measured with my fingers, I can tell that we've got a little too much hair, and I can use these little tines to peel it off. And then I take my thinning shears. I'm gonna use my thumb to hold the eyebrow I want to keep down and just kind of bring it up and go snip, 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 snip. Snip, 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 snip. Set those down again, and now I can take and look at her head and go, nope, not quite perfect yet. If you've already got an established line like I have on Nyx, then one of the nice easy things to do is I'm going to use my hand to hold her eyebrow, the long eyebrow down, and then kind of run the comb over the top. And if you can tell, which you might not be able to, the hair right there that comes up is the hair that's much shorter, which tends to be the hair that I didn't get with my razor. And then I can just use my thinners to pull it off with somewhat of impunity. And I just kind of go around the edge of the eyebrow, fixing up and making that nice line there solid. If you're really good, you can do something similar using just the shears themselves. Your first few times doing this, I wouldn't suggest that. But basically what I'm looking for right now is getting that top shape. And the shape, you can look at our website to get the exact, my Nyx. Move you back a little bit so we can get you in the light. So you can get the exact description of what the shape should look like. But for the most part, eyebrows are they're very personal. It's kind of what you want them to look like. So the one thing that they have to be though is symmetrical. So that's where I gently set my fingers on top of her eye and kind of push the tips of my fingers. Rest the tips of my fingers up against that bone with the orbital bone, I guess, for all of you medical people. And then I'm looking at the top to make sure that it's even. And it is, so yay. All right, so now I've established the shape as far as the transition between shaving and leaving it long. Now we need to finish the in-between. What we're aiming for is a diamond shape. So again, if you look on the website, you'll see the diagram, but basically we should have a line that goes from a little point. So when you run your finger on her head, where it transitions from sloping up to coming onto her nose, that's where her beard should start. So that point to the corner of her eye, so that's one part, then to the other part, then from there to where the slope stops. And that's your diamond. So your diamond goes corner to where the top of the head starts, to the corner of the eye, to the where the part of the beard starts, to the corner. So it's a diamond shape. So now I'm going to pull her eyebrows out of the way, because as you can see or not, there is little short hairs sitting here in my diamond that I want to get rid of. Again, I'm going to use my thinning shears to do this. And I'm going to use the back of the shears to kind of push the eyebrow out of the way while I'm gently holding her muzzle. I'm not squeezing it, I'm just sort of holding it in place, because Nyx likes to duck her head like that. And I want her head up so that it's in the light, so you can see, so I can see. So I just sort of hold her head up very gently. So I use the back of my shears to push the eyebrow out of the way. Now I can see the hair there, and with a little bit of an angle, I just do some little snipperings on this side, similar, but I'm gonna use my hand. There's always one side that's easier than the other. Pull the extra hair. And then I'm holding the eyebrow and then rubbing forward, because now those little extra hairs that I cut off last time that are still hiding in there, I come out and I can just do a little like that. And you're being a very good girl, Nyx, as always. So checking it nice and close. Now this is where, for me, my itty bitty little thinning shears come into play, because they're so short that I can work them into this little spot and get it nice and tight. I don't recommend using regular shears like your shears, because you will bald them right here. You'll remove all the hair all the way down to the skin, and your dog will look foolish. But our mantra last time was hair grows. That is our mantra this time. So if you give them a little bald spot, don't stress. Some of the important parts on grooming this part of your Schnauzer is never, ever, ever shave the hair down the top of the muzzle. If you do that, let me kind of give you a little bit of a demonstration here. You're going to remove all of that black hair right there, and then you end up with this white hair, which is not how a black and silver Schnauzer, well, any Schnauzer should look. So we never shave down the top of the muzzle, and we shouldn't shave under the eye. All right, so now I have my diamond in place. I use my little comb here to very gently put my eyebrows back in the spot I want. And now comes the fun part on designing your eyebrow. Again, if you look on the website, you will see the directions from the American Miniature Schnauzer Club on how it should look. It's still a complete personal preference. In general, you want the end of the eyebrow to be about halfway down the muzzle. I have this little bitty spray bottle, and in here is probably about a teaspoon of gel and some water. I find that a little spritz on here makes it easier. So after I have blow dried them nice and straight, I like to cut them a little bit wet. Probably same reason why, at least eyebrows. The rest of them, I don't cut them wet. But a slight dampness to the eyebrows, for me personally, I find it helps. And what I'm doing here is trying to just comb the eyebrow perfectly straight forward. Okay, so what I'm trying to create is a nice rectangular head. Look straight at the camera here, Nix. So all of this extra right here needs to come off. All of this right here needs to come off because you can see how it's just sort of sticking out to the side. And so it doesn't give us a nice straight head. You have to be careful not to undercut the eye because we don't want that to be all funky looking. So I get my other comb and I'm actually going to comb it straight and then forward a little bit. And I've got some wispies. So a little on it. Now I can do a little combing forward. And if you recall last time, we discussed where the beard should be. So you've got this whisker. There's a little whisker right here to the corner of the eye. It should be about where the beard goes, which is again where we're going for the line. Now, I'm using my actual shears. The first time you do this, I would suggest using your thinners because it gives you grace. In other words, like this. So I'm thinking that, and I like to do this part first, so let me tell you what I'm looking for here, is I'm looking for the corner of the eye that's hidden underneath this mop of hair. And I'm going to take my scissors and hold them parallel to the ground. In other words, I'm lining them up with her shoulder, and I'm going to put them near the corner of her eye, and then I'm going to just do some snipping. Now, if you do this with your thinning shears, you're going to snip for a little bit, but it'll make it so that if you make an error, you can correct it. Me, I'm not that patient, so I'm just going to snip it. So that gives me my beard line. Whoop. Now, because when I did that, I went a little bit up into the eyebrow, right? I went straight up. I did that on purpose because now I can see when she puts her head down, I can see right here is where I nicked it from the bottom. So now you make up your line. One way some people do it is they start with, get my thinning shears so you can see how you would want to start it, and go, okay, I want the eyebrows to be this long, and so I use my thinners and I just snip them off right there. Not my thing, but here you go. Careful not to get the beard in it, and whoop. Okay, so that's the end. Now we're going to connect the dots in whichever pleasing shape that you like. I like to bring mine kind of in a little bit, and I kind of do a little like whoop thing going. You can do a straight line. Doesn't matter. You choose the shape that you like. My shape looks like this. And the first time you do it a little bit long. This is not a finished shape. And I also like to then kind of come back here and I lay my scissors. Here's this little bone right here. I lay my scissors right up to that bone and I go straight forward. And then You'll notice I'm capturing all of the beard in my hand so that I don't inadvertently cut off beard, because that would make me super sad. And now I'm going to do a little bit of angling in. And this is just practice and what shape I like. And I like a little bit more of a length on the end. Now, can't quite see her eyeball yet, and when we get done we want to see the eye. So this is where a little undercutting is helpful. So again, I'm going to kind of crank her head over a little bit, not more than she can do it nice. And instead of laying my scissors, let me see, instead of having them, where's the camera, straight like that, I'm going to tip them on their side so they're on an angle. So not like this, but like this, so that I'm cutting the hair underneath but not the hair on top. Basically, I'm trying to cut out her eyelashes. And now we look at her in the face. We go, nope, I can't quite see enough of her eyeball. So I'm going to adjust the shape a little bit more. When I come in, I am going to come out a little bit. Otherwise, you end up like right here. And then there's this part of the eye that has no eyebrow on it, which that looks weird. And if in doubt, you switch over to your thinners. And you can do a little bit of blending along the side. Thinning shears are a wonderful tool. They prevent all kinds of mistakes from really looking mistakey, although I did not make one. Okay, now I still have some extra hair under the eyebrow. So again, I'm angling my scissors, putting them at like a 45, and trimming off that hair down there. I'm gonna use my thumb to move her lower eyelid and keep this hair right here from getting snipped, because I just want to take off the eyelash basically. And then I'm going to kind of comb it with my fingers, and voila, we have one. Now the hard part is make the other side look the same. So again, going to put my scissors perpendicular to the floor, find the outside corner of her eye, and then move my scissors just a smidge over, because it's always better to keep it a little bit longer and then work your way in than to get too far in, because you can't really work your way back out. Sorry. And we're going to comb it forward, because I don't want to cut off, I really don't want to cut off any of this black overlay. That little puppy has already done enough damage right here. I don't want to do damage with my scissors. Bad little puppy playing bitey face. And snip, snip, snip. You're going to use your thinning shears so that you don't make an error. Now, we already cut off the tip so that it lined up with the other side. So now I'm just drawing my line. You are not going to do this much of a cut your first time through because you're not that practiced at it. Now I've got all these eyelashes, so again I'm going to angle the scissors, come in under, hold the beard out of the way, and do a little undercutting. Helps the eye come out nicely. Do a nice little slicker brush quickie. Are we the same yet? Not quite. Pull a little more off of here. The other thing that can mess up your eyebrow is if another doggy or someone in your house makes a noise and your dog goes, and their little eyebrow goes, you know, like their little eyebrow is like, they're going like a, and it pulls off the whole line of the trim. Pull them out straight again. Take a good look. We got a little wonky right there. And then on a dog that's being shaved, I like to do right here on this part, I like to just take my thinning shears and just do a little bit of blending so it's not quite as hard of a line. On a dog on a show coat where it's stripped, you've got all that layered hair right through here, and so you don't need to do that blending because it's just sort of going to happen. But with a pet cut, I want to do a little blending so it looks nice. At least I like that. Again, the head is your pleasure. Now, the next part is shaping the beard. And some people like to trim it, some people don't. Again, the head is a personal preference. Nyx, being an older lady, has lost a few teeth, and so I actually keep her beard a lot shorter than I keep Finn's, because she kind of drools a little bit and stuff. So one of the things I like to do is I actually trim her little mustache hairs. So if you are going to do a mustache, you get them to open their mouth and you put your thumb right in front of the two canines, and now you can see some of the teeth she's lost. I actually like my eyebrow comb for this, and I kind of comb out her little mustache. And then I can take my little scissors and then I just trim up the mustache a little bit. And yes, the hair got into her mouth. Yes, she doesn't like it. And yes, that's too bad for her. Be still. And then I kind of just do a little thing there. And then I'm going to wipe it out of her mouth a little bit. Let go. Let her spit it out. There, there, there. Right, Nyx? There. Hair in your mouth. Gross. With schnauzers who have all their teeth, I find that they tend to bite these little hairs off. But when you're missing your front teeth, like somebody is, no, I'm sorry. A little mustache trim solves that particular problem. So that was our little mustache trim. And then from there, her beard is pretty much done, unless of course you wanted to remove some length. Now, if you remove length, always use your thinning shears. Any shaping of the beard happens with the thinners. Just never take a pair of regular shears. So right now I'm seeing I have a little too much hair right here, so I'm going to just kind of run it with my thinners. Because I don't want it to be a real sharp line. I want it to be a nice, gentle, blended kind of a line. So I'm going to adjust that a little bit. And this side didn't have that, so that's good. Don't worry, I'm not suffocating her. I'm actually just holding her hair as I'm holding her little, oh, you couldn't see, holding her face up. So I got my sides adjusted. Now, if you wanted to take some off the bottom, first we get it combed properly. Notice that I can comb through this entire beard, not a snarl anywhere. Now, my method is I pull the head up, I bring the beard down, and then I kind of capture the beard, and then I can take off a little bit on the bottom. Hold still, Nyx. But I'm doing it basically just the bottom and just a smidge for her, because in a couple of weekends she's going to California and should be getting her 3rd agility championship, so we want a nice, beautiful, luxurious beard for that. And so that should about do it. If you want to do any other fine tuning on the beard, again, comb. Oh, we got some flyaways, so let's give it a little spritz. Also, the spritz smells nice, so it gets a nice finishing smell. And now I can do a little adjustment there. Look at the other side. Minor adjustment. There we go. And voila, you want a cookie? Oh, yes. And we're asking her if she wants a cookie so that her head comes up and you can see. You want cookies? Hold still. There's the cookie girl. Hi. Want cookies? We have a nice rectangular shaped head with nice clean edges on the hair. Ta-da! Okay, now we'll get a cookie. Have a great